Hi, my name is Korth, and my topic was Emma Smith's role in church history, and it's from Unit 8. So my first quote was, "She was not only a faithful companion, counselor, and helpmate." I think a lot of times when we think of Emma Smith, we think her role was Joseph Smith's wife, and I think there just was a lot more to her and her importance in church history. My second quote was, "Sporska suggested that Emma's moral excellence and her exalted ideal of right and duty and love shall inspire thousands more to look beyond man to him whose infinite love was her dearest theme in life." And I think that's just like a really beautiful way to talk about how amazing Emma was. And I think it's a thing that think a lot of us want to have. Like when I do a good action or people see good in me, I want them to see Christ and not actually me. The next quote was, "Although Emma's capitulation was short lived, she had made the sacrifice and she finally received her reward. 5 days later, on May 28th, 1843, Emma was sealed to Joseph for time and all eternity. On this same day, she became the first woman admitted into Joseph's prayer circle, where he later initiated her into the endowment." Joseph obviously had a lot of wives, but I think Emma's role in church history was just so important, and we can see that through this quote and see how she was the first woman admitted into Joseph's prayer circle, which is just, I think, a really big deal. The next quote I have is from Gordon B. Hinckley, and he said he to Emma and to each of us, "A revelation I give unto you concerning my will, and if thou art faithful and walk in the paths of virtue before me, I will preserve thy life, and thou shalt receive an inheritance in Zion." I think it's just really cool that we get to see like a revelation that was said to all of us, but directly to Emma, and I think that just shows how important she was. My next one from our prophet Russell M. Nelson is, "From the earliest days of the church, women have displayed remarkable courage for their faith. Emma was a wonderful example of that." And I think her faith was just beyond measure. It was just incredible to see all the things that she didn't know, but she relied on her faith and her trust in God. And so I think that was a really cool quote. The next one I have is, "I hope my granddaughters will understand that the organization of Relief Society was an essential part of preparing the saints for the privileges, blessings, and gifts found only in the temple." And that was from Julie B. Beck. And I think it's just important to understand how important Relief Society is. It wasn't just something given to keep the women busy. It's something that can help us grow and become amazing wives and mothers and just important leaders in the church. So the first D&C verse I have is D&C 25, verse 1 and 3. It says, "Hearken unto the voice of the Lord your God, while I speak unto you, Emma Smith, my daughter. For verily I say unto you, all those who receive my gospel are sons and daughters in my kingdom. Behold, thy sins are forgiven thee, and thou art an elect lady whom I have called." Just important, I think, because he calls Emma his daughter, meaning she truly did receive the gospel. And it also says that she's an elect lady, whom God has called. And I think those are just really amazing. The next one I have is D&C 25, verse 5 and 6. And it says, "The office of thy calling shall be for a comfort unto my servant Joseph Smith, Jr., thy husband in his afflictions, with consoling words in the spirit of meekness. And thou shalt go with him at the time of his going, and be unto him for a scribe, while there is no one to be a scribe for him, that I may send my servant Oliver Cowdery, whithersoever I will." That's something that I didn't really know, is that she was a scribe for Joseph Smith, which is like a super amazing and important role. And I think the role of comforting like your husband and comforting just anybody is super important. From Joseph Smith Papers, I have, "Dear husband, I am ready to go with you if you are obliged to leave, and Hiram says he will go with me. I shall make the best arrangements I can and be as well prepared as possible." I think that kind of goes back to like the last from the D&C verse I just read, where God tells Emma that she should go with Joseph and be a comfort to him, and here she is like accepting that role. So the first concept I have is that Emma really was like a crucial, let me go back. Emma was like a crucial role in our church history. She was a strong leader and an important figure. She was not just the wife of Joseph Smith. She created hymn books and was the first president of Relief Society. She had a strong testimony and a sharp mind, and she stood up for what she knew was right, and she held her ground. And I think she's just a very strong person, which is not something that I think we're taught a ton. Like, especially growing up, I didn't think she was like a strong leader. I just thought she was a wife of Joseph, and it's really important to know that she was a strong person and had a really strong testimony. The next one I have is that she was a strong woman of faith, and she was a faithful companion, leader, and wife to Joseph Smith. She was an elect lady of God. Emma Smith's endurance and faith in church history are inspiring. She was ready to stand by her husband in times of challenge. She dealt with the trials and hardships better than quite possibly any woman and wife could. And without her being such a great support to Joseph, he might not have been able to complete his life's mission. We just owe a great deal to Emma Smith. Something I really wanted to highlight in that was that she had just an amazing endurance and faith. And I don't know many women, wives, or just people in general that could deal with what she dealt with in her whole life. And then the application is just like being more like her, obviously, just seeing like the amazing things that she was able to accomplish and like what she went through, and she was still able to have like that great faith in Joseph and in God. And just I think applying those traits to myself is something that I know I personally really want to do.